it in this anatomy? Okay, what is this in this your chest that examiners are interested in? Okay, what is it in this course called anatomy, narrowed down to specifically anatomy of the chest, or what you call thorax, abdomen, pelvis, and perineum? And to pick it up very importantly, thorax, what is so special about it? Where in it can examiners, both internal lecturers, both examiners, both external lecturers, so that is exactly what we are looking at. And if you look at it closely, I've been able to spell it very clearly for you. MSC Mastery Thorax, complete MBBS study sequence, okay? The examiners are after. There is not small thing. You know, in upper and lower limb, I put it to us, 48 topics. 48 topics. In these 48 topics, we have what? We have about, how do you call it now? We have 17 top ways you can study it. And now here we are talking about thorax. It's not easy. The higher you go, the greater it becomes. But guess what? If you have the understanding of what? If you have understanding of how to handle this, if you understand how to handle this concept, guess what? It's going to really be an age for you. It's going to be a serious age for you. So let's look at it. Yes, 148 topics. But guess what? It can be reduced to just 4 topics. Thorax, abdomen, pelvis, and perineum. Yes, 148 topics, but it can be reduced to just 4 topics. So we've been looking at it. And don't forget, in the afternoon, we're going to be looking at defining the thorax. Defining the thorax. Okay, we're going to look at it in such a way we've not looked at it before. Now let's look at this. This thorax, this anatomy. Okay, we said master the thorax, score excellence, save life. So it's not just about. So it's not just about. Okay, the topics is about the mastering the topics. All right. So we move on. The first thing you must understand is that the first part is the thorax foundation. Introduction to thorax. What is thorax? What's the extent in thorax? Okay, as we talk about that, we also talk about what are the boundaries, what are the cavities, what are the apertures, what are the walls. Okay, what's the surface anatomy of the thorax? Okay, be looking at what's the thoracic plane and the important levels. Do you follow? These are the things we'll be looking at. Thumbs up if you are with us. Yes. So now I'm just giving you a brief. I'm going to send this to the group. Okay, part 2, be looking at the bones and joints of the thorax. And if you are in first preclinical year or you're doing anatomy of the upper and lower limb, don't worry. We have created a very simple way, just one sentence. You know how to discuss the anatomy of the bones, anatomy of the joints, anatomy of the muscle, like diaphragm as in thorax, or muscles of the upper and lower limb, muscles of the head and neck. Just one sentence. We have done a teaching on that, okay? And we are still going to do more simplified. We are thinking of the best way to make this anatomy so simple that even someone that is reading is not his thing, spending more than 30 minutes is not his thing. In fact, even that 30 minutes itself, it comes with joke, comes with play. It's not. We are looking at this, just what this channel is about. So look at it. It's about bones. The next one is about thoracic wall. The next one is about the diaphragm. And the next one is about the pleura. Pleura is a serous membrane that covers or lines the lung, okay, separating the lungs from other visceral or internal organs. We're also going to be looking at the lungs, okay. Lungs is different from the membrane that cushion it, support it, lines it. Mediastinum. We'll be looking at mediastinum, the heart and the pericardium. Okay, we'll be looking at the blood supply and the drainages, okay, of the heart. We'll be looking at the great vessels of the heart. We'll be looking at the nerves of the thorax, the breast, the mammary gland, and this also concerns those in the upper and lower limb. Only that when we're looking at the breast, we'll be looking at much more things, okay, than it was looked at in the upper and lower limb. Watch the video. This session is just a tip of an iceberg compared to so much you have to learn in this privileged channel. Okay, moving away from there, we'll be looking at the ducts and the lymphatic drainages, looking at the thorax and the movements and the actions of those muscles and those joints, looking at the clinical anatomy. From all said and done, the final thing that is worth looking at is going to be the radiological appearances and the surface anatomy. Radiological appearances and surface anatomy. Once again, welcome to this is MedSearch. 1 second, please. Okay, so like we said, this is medicine and surgery mastery, medicine and surgery course mastery. We give students the opportunity to master complex concerns and concepts in medicine and surgery in a very easy way. So this is a highlight of this morning session. We'll be looking at thorax again, and abdomen again, and pelvis again, and perineum again. We'll be looking at these structures, but much more. You need to understand this heart of yours. Stay focused. Don't give somebody your heart, because in this heart there is a thorax, there is a region between the neck and the abdomen. What is it all about? We're going to look at that. So I've given you that these are the 16 things we'll be looking at. But if you look at the videos we have already done, which we are going to do a brief and a summary of this, what a way, you're going to discover that this concept of thorax and abdomen and perineum and pelvis and perineum is done in such a way that you are not going to be having any issue calling it, mastering it, retaining it, remembering it, retrieving it, boosting your remembrance capacity. So what are we going to start from? We are going to start from somewhere. But don't forget, after we've learned all this, guess what? You should be happy because examination is coming. We'll be doing past question and answers. We'll be taking textbooks on question exercises in textbook when we are finished internalizing it. But in all this, don't forget, the anatomy of the thorax that the examiner after is to understand how it flows from foundation to bones, to joints to walls, to diaphragm to pleura, to lungs to mediastinum, to heart to great vessels of the heart, the nerves, the breast, the lymphatics, the movement, the clinicals, the radiological appearances, and the revision. You can see how beautiful we make this thing so interesting. So we're going to make a short one and send it to you so that you have a brief picture, a wonderful picture of what we are doing, because we know very well that this thing that is happening here, you may not be able to see it clearly. You may not be able to see it very well. But one thing is very certain. We're going to make a clearer version, a clearer picture. You see my mouth. You see my face. You see how serious this matter is. So this is a blueprint of what we are after here. So now let's jack back to thorax. What is it in this your heart that the examiners are after? What is it in this your heart that the examiner wants you to know? That's what we want to start. First, it is the thorax. Next, it is the abdomen. Okay? Yeah, some abdominal viscera, that is some internal structures, organs, you may call it, that are in the heart, okay? Like the lungs, the heart, like the diaphragm, okay? We're going to look at them. So we are going to look at what we could look at today, because in this channel we have a goal, and our aim is to make sure that we grasp medicine and surgery course concept, okay? We grasp it in piecemeal. Do you follow? Thumbs up if you are with me. Yes, drop in the comment section, give an emoji, drop your comment, what you want me to repeat again. Maybe I was too fast, you want us, or you want to be a guest. That reminds me, we usually do guests, Okay, we usually invite guests in the night because in the day you are agile, you are alert, you are active in the afternoon. But in the night, we are all human beings. The night tells on you, you're tired and everything. But guess what we said? In the night, we like our guests to be with us. So if you want to be our guest, gather in your team of study group, your team of class, your team of yourself. Stand up and so you can comment on the channel, or you can come to the Made Such Course channel. Made Such Course Mastery channel. It's a WhatsApp channel. It's public. Just search it as a channel. You see, when you join, you get to see other beautiful resources like study shop. You know, some people have workshop, but we have study shop, study studio, and the rest of all those wonderful things that is needed to help people have a nice time in this anatomy. So right again and once again, let's dive into the anatomy of the thorax. Now, these 149 topics reduced into 17 topics or 16 is going to be considered in a far more reduced way. Are you following? Yes, as if you are in anatomy zone, as if you are doing, as if you are in your institute of anatomy. We are doing it much more simplified, much more interesting to an uninteresting mind. Are you getting me now? Because we see reading is not is reading watching football, is reading watching Nigerian movie, is reading watching action movie of the Americans or the diaspora, is reading watching your anime or your cartoon, is naming gist, is it gossip, is it fight, is it? No, it's not. So what is it? It's not a business. So we are trying here to make sure that reading becomes an interesting session. Do you follow? Thumbs up if you are with me, and then drop in the comment section, share and subscribe, like this button so it reach out to a number of millions of medical students in the Nigerian medical institution as well as the diaspora who are looking for a better and easier way to get this thing done. Do you follow? Thumbs up if you are following. All right, so right away we are moving into the first thing in this your heart, okay, that examiners are after. In this your heart that examiner wants you to know. So your infant, a lecturer told me, said these are areas of interest. They are areas of interest. Okay, so let's move into it. All right, so we're starting, like we said, we started with the thorax. What is it in this thorax that your examiners are after? What is it in this thorax that your examiners are after? All right, so this is thorax. As you talk about the thorax, you need to take down this acronym for understanding and for recalling the anatomy of the thorax. And don't forget, we said this acronym are the hanger in which you arrange your thoughts. This acronym, sometimes we use mnemonics, are the anger in which you arrange your thoughts in the wardrobe of your memory. Okay, as you stay where you stay and you're watching and you're observing this, you agree with me that there is a part, okay, there's a part of your room called cupboard, wardrobe. Okay, you can tell someone, go to my wardrobe, go to the first level, go to this hanger, count 3 hangers from here, or count 7 hangers. You see a cloth, it is pink, it is this, open it, you see inside, it is, you see underwear, under the underwear you see hoodie, something like that. You can arrange that because you have what? You have what we call hanger, that you hang those things you are looking for. So in the anatomy of thorax, there must be a hanger you hang it so that it will be easy to pull it out in examination. When it's time for question and answer, when we are running that session, it will be easy for you to as well do what? Pull it out. Once again, we are getting value from this. Pick up your thumbs up, subscribe, share, so that other students offering this course, thorax, abdomen, pelvis, perineum, upper and lower limb, they can enjoy this, even other preclinical courses. Now, we use the acronym JEC-CFIM. JEC-CFIM. What does JEC-CFIM stand for? I'm going to allow you to write it out, JEC, as I'm also writing, with fresh blank page. At the end of this study, you should be able to talk about thorax. You should be able to have thorax, okay, and the areas and structures and vessels and things that are important to your examiner. You don't just read through a material like I've opened it like this one by this person here, but you should be able to have what is the most important thing here. What am I supposed to know? What am I supposed to hear? What am I supposed to have as we talk about thorax? So I've written my own, write your own. J-E-C. Letter J, letter E, letter C. Then you draw a hyphen. You write another letter C. You draw another hyphen. You write letter F, letter I, and letter N. I've written mine. See mine. I've written it. You write it. JEC-CFIM. So when you want to talk about anatomy of the thorax, the first thing you talk about is JEC-CFIM. Okay? Then the next acronym I'm going to give to you is very tall rabbits travel very bright streets to avoid cars. This, if you put it together, it is 16 things that are put in here. 16 things that are put in here. Different things. Okay, so you look at the thorax with 16 different things. How do you look at these 16 different things? How do you record these 16 different things? You use what I call, okay, how do you record these 16 different things? It's very simple. You record these 16 different things by doing what? By remembering the acronym, by remembering the mnemonics. Stay focused. Yeah, remembering the acronym and the mnemonics, which is JEC-CFIM. All right, you write it vertically. JEC-CFIM. JEC-CFIM. Hello, Jack, CFIM. All right, maybe there's a film, is watching film, and you're saying, oh, Jack, CFIM. All right, when you are done, I'm going to tell you what each of them stand for. But I wanted you to pick it first. Letter J, letter E, letter C, another letter C, and then letter F, letter I, and letter N. JEC-CFIM. Okay, if you have picked that, let's pick the next one, which is very tall rabbit. You write it vertically, very tall rabbit. Okay, travel very bright streets. Okay, to avoid cars. Very tall rabbits travel very bright streets to avoid cars. Good. The next one is, we want to now look at what does this thing that we were talking about stand for. What do they stand for? Okay, do you follow? Want to know what they stand for? Let's start with JEC-CFIM. When we are done, we now come to very tall rabbits travel very bright streets to avoid cars. All right, let's move on. From the JEC-CFIM, the M there, okay, stands for meaning or introduction of thorax. Meaning or introduction of thorax. The I there stands for inlet of thorax or it stands for what? Thoracic inlet. Either you say inlet of thorax or thoracic inlet. I'm going to say that again. The M stands for meaning of thorax, what you call introduction, okay? And then the I stands for inlet of thorax, okay? And the F then stands for functions of thorax, okay? And the C there stands for characteristics of thorax. And the other C stands for components of thorax. And the E there stands for extent of thorax, okay? And the J there stands for joint of thorax. I'm going to repeat that again because I believe you are writing. J for joint of thorax. So you can say J for joint. All of them is for thorax. Everything we are doing there is about thorax. It's about thorax. It's about thorax. J for thorax. J for joint. E for extent. C for component. The next C for characteristics. F for function. I for inlet or thoracic inlet. And then M for meaning of thorax. Do you follow? Okay, I should say it again. More slowly, no problem. I'm going to say that again more slowly. I said JEC, C-fin, J-E-C, C, and then F-I-N, JEC, C-fin. Now, the other one, JEC, C-fin. You follow? Good. The next one, we said J stands for joint, J-O-I-N-T. E stands for extent, okay? The next C stands for components. The other C stands for what? Characteristics. F stands for what? Function. And then I stands for what? Inlet. And then M stands for what? Meaning. So that is the 7 points we talk about for thorax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Jack, C-fin. Hello, Jack, C-fin. All right, something like that. Now we talk about the other one, which is what? Very tall rabbits travel very bright streets to avoid cars. Remember, TO2 is on its own, it stands for a subtopic on its own, and then avoid stands for subtopic on its own. Cars stands for a subtopic on its own. So we move on. The next thing we are looking at is, please pay attention. The next thing we are looking at is the meaning of these acronyms and mnemonics, and all of them, if you put together, there are 10 of them. Okay, so M stands for meaning, I stands for inlet, F stands for function, okay, and then C stands for characteristics. The other C stands for the component, E stands for extent, and the J stands for joint. Now let's look at very tall rabbit, okay? Let's look at very tall rabbit. Very tall rabbit stands for vertebral levels, okay? Thoracic athletes, relations, okay? Relations. So, very stands for vertebral level. Tall stands for thoracic athletes. Remember, we have talked about inlet, inject, C-fin, okay? Where I say M is for meaning, I is for inlet, and then F is for function, C is for characteristics, the next C is for components, E is for extent, and J is for joint. Now we talk about very tall rabbit travel very bright streets to avoid cars. Okay, that's the mnemonics again. So the very is for vertebral levels, the tall is for thoracic athletes, and then rabbit is for relations, specifically relations of the inlets. Okay, relations of the inlet, thoracic relations of the thoracic inlet, or what you call superior aperture, is there on what I showed you. And then we move on. We said travel very bright street stands for thoracic wall. Travel stands for thoracic wall. Very stands for venous drainage. Bright stands for blood supply. Street stands for spaces, in bracket intercostal spaces. Okay, and then to avoid car stands for thoracic cavity. All right, avoid stands for action, and then car stands for clinical correlate or clinic or applied anatomy. Clinical significance or applied anatomy. I'm going to take that again. Clinical significance or applied anatomy. Beautiful. Now let's continue. As we talk about thorax, JEXC thing, what is the meaning of thorax? I'm going to use acronym once again to break it down and simplify it. Don't forget this channel, we have a goal to reduce medical concepts into piecemeal. You need to listen to this slowly one by one. You need to watch other videos that we have done internalization. This one we are only presenting to you the part of your heart, that important part in your heart that the examiners are after, whether board exams, MBCN, or USL, or whatever exams you are taking, internal, external, intercontinental, you want to go abroad, your MB, your preclinical, your in-course, name them. This video and this channel, this session is to present to you those important aspects. Are we together now? Okay, so now we put into the meaning of thorax. Thorax simply means Iran. Who does not know Iran? Okay, at least you can spell Iran, even if you have not been there. You have heard the name, you know what it means, the name of the country. But in anatomy of the thorax, Iran means that thorax, I is, R region, A abdomen, N neck. Meaning the thorax is the region between the abdomen and the neck. It's the region between the abdomen and the neck. Just like when you are looking at the perineum, we say the perineum is the region, okay? It's the region that contains external genitalia and the anal orifice. Remember, thorax, from thorax to perineum, from thorax to perineum. A lot of students always have this issue. What's the difference between thorax and perineum? What's the difference between, a lot of students usually ask, so what's the difference between perineum and peritoneum? What's the difference between perineum and peritoneum? Now, perineum is the region that contains the external genitalia and the anal orifice, whereas peritoneum is the membrane that covers the organs of the abdomen, the organs in the abdomen. Do you follow? You need to replay this and pause it and listen to it slowly and write it down and say it out. That's why we say join our channel so that you get to appreciate how we studio this thing out, how we master this out. Or you watch other videos in this channel that we took time, about an hour or two, to put it to you, how you can master from stammering to plastering, to mastering, to being faster about it, to being blaster about it. You are so bold and confident, and you are not panicking when they said it's exam time. So moving away from there, we talk about the inlet of the thorax. We said the meaning of thorax. Thorax simply means Iran. That is, it is the region between the abdomen and the neck. Remember, we say your body is the best anatomy textbook. If you can tap your body, it means you can understand anatomy. So don't just read, don't just scroll through material like this, but you have to do what? You have to tap it. Tap the material, touch the material, pick your biro, try to scribble something, not just a lecture note. Have a rough book that you use to write out what you claim you have recalled. Do you follow me? Thumbs up if you are with me. We move on. So as we talk about this concept, we now say we look at the inlet of thorax. Thoracic inlet can be understood using the acronym V-squared-man. You can say V-man. Wow. I'm seeing two V-man. This is a V-man, that's another V-man. V-squared-man. What does that mean when we say V-squared-man? V-squared-man simply means the first V is for visceral. Okay, the next V is for veins, the M is for muscle, the A is for artery, and the end is for nerve. Remember, when I was showing you the things, when we first started this video this morning, I was showing you the things that the thing that is so special about your heart, that the examiners after, I showed you some of these things I'm discussing. That's why I said, yes, there may be 149 topics in this your heart that the examiner wants you to know. But guess what? You must understand that out of these 149 topics, we are going to get to learn the basic essential ones, which is reduced to 16 topics. Even this 16 topic, we are going to further reduce it to 4 topics: thorax, abdomen, abdominopelvic region, and perineum. Okay, and there's no how we talk about these things that will not make mention of upper and lower limb. Some concerns there. If you are talking about thorax, okay, as a region, we are telling how we're going to talk about thorax as a region, and we don't talk about clinical situation that may arise, clinical significance. Follow? Okay, thumbs up if you are following. Now we move on. As of thorax, that thorax means Iran, that is I for east, R for region, A for abdomen, N for neck. Thorax is the region between the abdomen and the neck. This is the neck, this is the abdomen. We say there's a diaphragm there, there's a muscle there, okay, the musculofibrous muscle there, musculofibrous structure there that help to separate the thorax from the abdomen, what people call their stomach. That's not really the stomach. The stomach is somewhere part of this retroperitoneal. So let's move in there. So we said the inlet of thorax, we say V squared MAN. V squared MAN. What does that mean? V for viscera, the next V for vein, the next M for muscle, the A for artery, the N for nerve. Now let's start with the viscera. For the viscera that inlets the thorax or passes through the inlet of the thorax. Another word for inlet of the thorax is thoracic inlet. In fact, they ask you in exam or your Viva exams or your whatever exam, you said superior thoracic aperture. I call it SAT. So when you find thorax on a SAT, okay, what it means is that you have the superior aperture of the thorax. How about the inferior aperture of the thorax? That is the thoracic outlet. We are going to study that when we are looking at very tall rabbits travel very bright streets to avoid cars. We are looking at that outline. So let's move very quickly. We look at the veins. The veins, we said, is just like the artery. So if you know the veins, you can know the artery. For the veins, we said BSC. So every vein in the thorax, watch this now, that passes through the superior aperture of the heart, of the thorax, or the inlet, they have BSC. All right? They are BSC. In fact, they are BSC holders. What does BSc mean? Bachelor of Science. Okay, Bachelor of Science, Chemistry. Now, what does that mean? B for brachiocephalic vein. Okay, S for left subclavian vein, and C for left common carotid vein. Now, the same thing for artery. BSc, every artery that inlets the thorax has what? It has BSc. The B there stands for brachiocephalic artery, and the S there stands for left subclavian artery, and the C there stands for left common carotid artery. Do you follow? You need to rewind this and put it slowly and listen to it over and over again. You need to watch it over and over again. This is one video that if you say after me, you pause and write it out and say it out. That was how I'm able to tell you this thing. I'm telling you now without using book or scrolling through book. Although if we have time after I'm done telling you the things that your examiner I want you to know after this your heart, okay? It's so special. This is your precious, important heart. Don't give someone your thorax, so don't give someone your heart, so don't break somebody's heart, so don't allow someone to break your heart, so thumbs up if you are with me. Don't allow someone to break your thorax. So okay, so we move on. As we move on, we talk about thoracic artery. We've said the artery, we said the vein, we said the viscera. And the viscera, I didn't tell you about the viscera. We said rotator. To know the viscera, that is the internal structure. Viscera simply means internal. The viscera that inlets the thorax or that passes through the thorax, I use the acronym rotator. ROTATO. That's all. Rotator. Who has not heard rotator before? You are saying, oh, rotate, is rotating. I see the rotator. As you are listening to such word, you are remembering anatomy. That's why we said what you are used to, so that you'll be used to what you need to be used to. So we say anatomy in a used to word, so that you'll be used to what you need to be used to, which you are used to every now and then. Okay, so we move on. Moving away from there, rotator. What does rotator mean? ROT. It stands for remains of thymus. Remains of thymus. THYMUS. That's the spelling of thymus. Now we're moving away from there. We talk about the what? The apex or the apices of the lungs and plural. Either the apex of the lungs and the apex of the plurae, not plural. PLEURAE. plural, not singular and plural, you know, in English. You know, the plural, you know, in English, which is singular and plural, is plural. This one is pleurae, plural. Are you following it? Thumbs up if you are with me. Okay, we move on. Drop in the comment section if there's something you didn't hear well or the spelling you are not comfortable with. Okay, now we move on. So that's that. ROT, remains of thymus. Okay, rotator. A for apex or apex of the lungs and apex of the pleura. Either you say apices of the lungs or apices of the pleura. Now we are rushing this because we are trying to show you that if you want it steady, you have to go to those videos. We took our time to say it slowly. See how we were saying it slowly. We were tired, we were still talking about it. We were standing, we were still talking about it. We were asking ourselves questions, we were still talking about it. We were doing revision, we were still talking about it. So check this video. You can't miss this video. Takes it live with you. I assume you are live. I assume I'm talking to you live. And that's how we present it, this video. I'm here to charge you, to challenge you, to give you an edge, to believe in you, and get you to become the champion you're supposed to be, which you're already, and you become more. Now we move on. We said rotator, remains of thymus, ROT, apeces of lungs and pleura, trachea, and esophagus. Is your trachea not passing into this inlet of thorax? This is the inlet of the thorax. Okay, posteriorly you have the surface of the T1 vertebra. Anteriorly, that's in front, you have the mandible. Okay, and then upper this thing, we say you have what? It continues to the neck, and then laterally you have the rib. If I'm talking about the relations of the thorax, we use the acronym PAUL. Paul. P-A-U-L. Is that not Paul? Is that not the name of somebody? And if you know of Bible, the book of Bible written by Paul, so you read Bible every now and then in church, or you hear people that read it, you know. So tell me you ever forget anatomy of Paul? Posterior, anterior, upper, and lateral. Those are the relations of the thoracic aperture, thoracic superior aperture. Very simple. We move on. Is it not simple? Okay, I know I may be rushing it, but you can pause it small because you want to give a whole lot of value, a whole lot of content, a whole lot of impact in a short video. Do you follow me now? Okay, let's move on. We are moving on. As we move on, we talk about the next thing, which is what the function of thorax. Remember, Jack, see thing. Remember, very tall rabbits travel very bright streets to avoid cars. These are the 17 outlines for discussing what? Thorax. When we're talking about the outline for discussing upper and lower limb, guess what? We talk about the joint, and we said the anatomy for joint is what? I always saw born-again disciples teaching all Christian love, Bible reading now more accurately. 15 of it. And we say what each of them stands for. I for introduction, always for what? Articular surface, articular structure. Yes, because articular surface comes out there. And then born again is for bossa. C is for stability. Disciple is for diagram. Type is for teaching, is for type. All is articular structure. The other one was articular surface, or articular surface and articular structure. Okay, all Christian, capsule, love, that is ligament, Bible reading, blood supply, reading, relations, now nerve supply, muscle and movement and action. Okay, now Bible reading now more accurate. That's applied anatomy or clinical significance. That's that for joints. We've done similar things for bones, we've done similar things for muscle, and we are still going to do more because we are studying. This channel just started. It's about, because check this, it's not even up to a long time. We started doing this thing on this channel because we are trying to learn how to upload, how to reach out to other medical students, trying to be a blessing to them. We are trying to make sure that the little we know, we get to learn with them, we get to know with them, we get to give them opportunity to learn what is complex in a very small, minute way. Okay, we're done with the function of the thorax. Now we're done with the meaning. We said Iran, region between abdomen and neck. We done thoracic inlet, V squared man, and V squared man. We are done with what? The viscera, okay, which is rotator, remains of thymus, okay, apeces of the lungs and the pleura. We say the trachea and the esophagus. Then the next V is vein, BSC, brachiocephalic, left subclavian, left common carotid, and then the most is SS3. Who has not gone to SS3? Even if you have not done, instead of SS3, say SS leaf. Some people leave SS3 behind, they jump it, they go and write SS3 exam, they don't attend class, okay, they jump to JAM, they don't do SS2 or something, they just jump class. So the first S is sternothyroid, the next S is sterohyoid, and the L there is longus colli. Those are the three muscles that passes through the thoracic inlet. Moving away from there, we now talk about the nerve. Remember, we talk about V squared, man. We talk about A, which is artery, BSC, the same thing as BSC for vein. The nerve is PSCV, PVSL, PVSL. What does P means? The phrenic nerve. What does V means? The vagus nerve. What does S means? The sympathetic trunk nerve. And this is one of the nerve that creates the last nerve, which is the left recurrent intercostal laryngeal nerve. The left recurrent intercostal laryngeal nerve. I purposefully say it slowly so you pick it. The left recurrent intercostal laryngeal nerve. What does it mean? This is the larynx. Meaning the nerve, okay, you still find the larynx. It's close to the larynx. Okay, that's why you call it laryngeal. But it's recurrent, meaning it's moving up. So it's like it's coming from the vagus, moving up. Okay, we have the left recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay, so we move on. Those are the nerves that are structures that are inletting the thorax. You find, and this is a usual question. Say right on the thoracic inlet, or superior aperture of the thorax, or superior thoracic aperture. They can ask you to write on that. There can be some OBJ multiple choice question on that concept. You need to know it very well. How do you know it very well? By watching the videos we've done. We say this thing. In fact, you see how we learn with some people. We stammer. We try to do a quick recall, memorize level mnemonics. See how we started from cradle to kingdom. Do you get? All right, thumbs up if you are getting. So drop in the comment section if you can, if you are getting this. All right, share and subscribe. You are making value from this. We talk about meaning of thorax, Iran, inlet of thorax, V-man, everything, and meaning of thorax, Iran, okay, inlet of thorax, okay, V-man. Okay, there are some people I call T-man. This one is V-man. The function of thoracic inlet. Now, characteristics of thorax. SMSTTD. Some people, they can press SMS thoroughly till daybreak. So SMSTTD. You're going to hear a lot of acronym with SMS. You're going to hear SMS this, SMS that, SMS this, SMS that. So you should be able to be used to it. If not, you'll be confused which SMS is for which SMS. And that's why they will tell you abdominal viscera. So your thorax, okay, especially the thoracic cage, which is the ribs, is to protect the internal organs, okay, abdominal viscera. Okay, some of those things we are going to talk about that. Next one is the characteristics, okay, of thorax. SMSTTD. What does SMS means? The first one is skin. Once you open your thorax, first thing you're going to find there is skin. The next thing you're going to see is superior and deep fascia. You're going to see superior fascia, something like yellowish white, like a silk, like fiber, okay, but no, not like fiber, like liquid, but strong enough, okay, like fatty, like adipose tissue, things like that, okay. They're called superior, superficial, and deep fascia. After that, you're going to find muscle. You're going to find, and there are a lot of them, okay. You are going to, when we talk about the muscles, okay, sorry, when we talk about thoracic outlets, you're going to hear about the muscles of the thorax, the external muscles, the extrinsic muscle, and the intercostal muscle. You're going to hear about that. Now, the next thing we also talk about in the thorax is the thoracic cavity. Okay, before that I talk about thoracic cage. After you remove the skin by dissection, the next thing you find the superficial fascia. They say scrap it off. After that you find the muscle. They say note the attachment, note the insertion, note the origin. And then after that they say harvest the bone. Okay, harvest the bone. You see the costal cartilage, you see the chondro, you see the transverse process, you see the side of the lumbar, you see the size of the thorax, okay, you see the lower side of the the inner lower side of the sixth rib, and the region between the seventh rib and the xiphoid process, where you find the Morgani's triangle or larynx space. You find the Morgani's triangle or larynx space. You find a whole of interesting things there. Okay, so we are making progress. Moving away from there, we said you also have what? You also have, talking about the thorax. What else do you also have when you're talking about the thorax? Okay, I think I'm done with the characteristics. SMS TTD. S for super skin, M for muscle, S for superficial facial, T for thoracic cavity, thoracic cage or wall, and then the next T for thoracic cavity, and the last D there is for the deep facial. Let's look at components of thorax. The components of thorax include number one, STP. STP. Who does not hear of STP? Did you do secondary school? If you have not borrowed to biochemistry, we said STP, standard temperature and pressure. But in anatomy of the thorax, what is it in this your heart that the examiners are after? What is this in this your heart that the examiners are? What is inside this your heart that the examiners are after? Number one, you have, watch this now closely, there's a sternum, there is a thoracic vertebra, and there is a pair of ribs. So we specific 12 pairs of ribs. Okay, 10 of them are attached, and then 2 of them are floating. Okay, now let's move on. Talking about this, now we said the next concept that the thorax, okay, has extent. The extent is SIP, to sip. You sip gari, or you sip cornflakes, or you sip your Quaker oats, or you sip your smoothie. Whatever you are sipping, we say the thorax has what? Has an extent called sip. The extent is for superior mediastinum, and the I there is for inferior mediastinum, and the P there is for posterior mediastinum. Okay, let's move on. Superior mediastinum. Mediastinum is a topic we'll look at on its own. A lovely thing if you appreciate the bulky membrane. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we said inferior mediastinum, posterior mediastinum, and superior mediastinum. Then we quickly talk about the joint of the thorax. The joint of the thorax can be understood if you use the acronym SIT, 6 MS. 6. So SIT 6 SMS. So what's this? I'm trying to say, let 6 SMS sit down. Yes, it's on the chest that it sit down. When you have a message, the first message sits on your chest. Oh, I have a chest attack. Oh, my chest. You know, once you hear a good news, oh, are you serious? Once you hear a bad, of course you will not hear bad news. But if someone hear bad, you know, hear another. So he hears like 6 bad news in a day. It's after your heart. So don't let someone break your heart. Don't give someone your heart. Don't let someone break your thorax. So don't give someone your thorax. So don't joke with the thorax. So even though we are trying to play about it, but this is so serious. Follow? Thumbs up if you are following. It's 10:08. I want to take okay, let me not say 1 minute. A 10 seconds break. I want to take some water. Okay? I want to take some water. Thank you. I'll be with you shortly. Okay, so thank you so much. Appreciating that. Stay focused. Very important. As anatomy for you, stay focused. Stay consistent. Stay motivated. Stay focused. All right. So we've talked about the joint CIT, CIX, SMS. I'm going to do that again. CIT hyphen. You draw an hyphen. CIX. You draw another hyphen. SMS. So sit 6 SMS. Sit 6 SMS. So you are making 6 SMS to sit in your thorax. You see someone say you're putting somebody in your mind. You know, it's carrying something in the mind. We know the mind is here, the brain, but on the real average, many people think the mind is here because it has touched them, or it has touched, you know, they will touch it instead of touching it. But whatever is the case, that's in your heart, okay? SIT SIT-SIX6 and then SMS. What does SIT stands for? C for costochondral joint, I for interchondral joint, and T for costotransverse joint. Do you follow? I'm going to say that again. CIT, costochondral joint, interchondral joint, costotransverse joint. Let's look at CIX. Costovertebral joint, intervertebral joint, xiphosternal joint. I'm going to do that again. Costovertebral joint, intervertebral joint, xiphosternal joint. Then SMS, S for sternocleidomastoid, sternocleidomastoid. M for manibrosternal joint, manibrosternal joint, manibrosternal joint, B-R-I-O, B-U-R-I-O. Did I say subclavius? There's nothing like subclavius joint. Sternoclavicular. No, what am I saying? SMS, S for clavicular joint, M for manibrosternal joint, and the last S is for synchondrosis. Synchondrosis. Just recall that sternocleidomastoid is not a joint, it's a muscle. Subclavius is not a joint, it's a muscle. Okay, so we've talked about the joint. There's a Jake C theme, the meaning Iran, thoracic inlet, viscoid man, function, viscera, it protects viscera, protects important abdominal viscera, PAM, protects abdominal viscera, PAF, characteristics, SMSTTD, component or composition, STP, then extent, SIP, and joint, SIT6 SMS. That is CIT, SMS, and CIX. Okay, I want to take a 1 minute break now and take a stretch, and then I'll be with you shortly. You follow? 1 minute break. 1 minute break. All right, welcome back from the 1 minute break, like I told us. Okay. Wow. So I'll continue. We have looked at jet sea theme. Now we want to look at very tall rabbits travel very bright streets to avoid cars. Are you ready for this? Thumbs up if you are ready for this. The excitement. Woo-hoo. Now, we said the very stands for vertebral levels. Please put it down. Okay, very stands for vertebral levels. Tall stands for thoracic. Rabbit stands for relations. Travel stands for thoracic wall. Very stands for venous drainage. Bright, okay, stands for blood supply. And then the last one, which is to avoid cars, stands for thoracic cavity. Action of those joints as well as the clinical significance. All right. So we're still making progress. We said these things now For the mnemonic is very tall rabbit travels very bright street to avoid cars. For the very said is the vertebral levels. The vertebral levels is divided into three. We have the one for superior mediastinum, we have for the one of inferior mediastinum, which usually contain the middle mediastinum and the anterior mediastinum, fan. Okay, MIA or IMA. Okay, IMA, inferior mediastinum, middle mediastinum, and anterior mediastinum. And we also have posterior mediastinum. The superior mediastinum has mass. Those are the structures in the posterior mediastinum from T1, the levels, T1 to T4, that's the level. And the level for inferior is T4 to T12, whereas for the posterior is T5 to T12. Okay, so now, want to look at the anatomy of what the structures are in the inferior and posterior mediastinum. We have Mr. Hex. Okay, we have Mr. Hex. What are the structure? We have xiphostenal joint, manibrostenal joint. We have the epigastric fossa. We have the epigastric fossa. We have the heart. Okay, and we have the diaphragm. We have the diaphragm. That's the rectus abdominis. The rectus abdominis, Mr. Hex. Okay, and if it is MD Hex, then D is there, is for the diaphragm. Okay, quickly, let's look up to another concept we want to quickly look at before we round up. Believe by between now and 11 o'clock we should end this session that is talking about what is it in anatomy that the examiner wants you to do what? Wants you to know. What is inside this your heart that the examiner are after. After you knowing it, after you saying it as I'm saying, after you writing it out, pausing the video, write it out, after you picking a rough book to see, can I remember what they said? After you going back again to look at these things. Okay, now we are done. We said for vessels, those are the vessels. Okay. Anything we are going to talk about now, we'll talk about the vestibular thoracic outlet. As we talk about the thoracic outlet, we use the mnemonics. What's the mnemonic for the outlet? We said CRL TM DEAL. That's the spelling of deal. So write it down. CRL TM. Then the next one, DEAL. So it means control TM deal. Control TM deal. What does C stands for? Left and right cruise. CRUS, cruise. Okay. R stands for what? Ribs. L stands for what? Lateral arcuate ligament. So M stands for what? Median arcuate ligament. The ligament. Okay. Median, when we look at diaphragm, you see the arcuate ligament. Median arcuate ligament. Okay. Medial. The first one is median. MEDIAN. I almost say median. Okay, the next one is medial arcuate ligament. The other one was median arcuate ligament. This one is median arcuate ligament. Okay, and then what do we say is the acronym for it? Thoracic outlet. Thoracic outlet, for the acronym we said CRL TM DEAL. Okay, so the D there is for diaphragm, the M there is manibrum, the D there is diaphragm, the E is epigastric fossa, the A is the aorta. Yes, we have the aorta. Okay, aorta, abdominal aorta. Okay, so aorta, and then we talk about L there is the the T is the 12th thoracic vertebra. So the L will be the first lumbar vertebra. Those are the structures that pass through the thorax. inferiorly. So we call it inferior thoracic aperture or inferior or thoracic outlet. Do you follow? Thumbs up if you follow, and if you don't follow, pause it, rewind it, listen again, because there's no point listening to more and you cannot say. So if you cannot say from the beginning to this one, it tells you this video is not for internalization. This video is for presentation, what we have internalized, showing you the things that examiners want you to know in your preclinical days. Now, if your foundation is not fixed, when you get to clinical class or the higher levels, guess what? You may be asked to, it may be embarrassing. Okay. So let's move on to the next thing. The relations of the thorax. The relations of the thorax is just Paul, P-A-U-L. P-A-U-L. Paul. P-A-U-L. What does P stands for? Posterior relation. A stands for what? Anterior relation. U stands for what? Upper relation. L stands for what? Lateral relation. And lateral relations, the thorax is laterally related to by the ribs. The U there is the upper relation. It continues as the neck, related to by the neck. And the A there is the anterior relation. You have, no, that's not correct. I'm talking about the relation. That relation is for the inlet of the thorax. So the lateral is the ribs, yeah. Upper is continuous as the neck. And the anterior, okay, is the mandible. Posterior is the superior surface of the first intercostal nerve. Now, done with that. The next one is going to be vein supply. Sorry, venous drainage. Vein doesn't supply, vein drains. Okay? The venous drainage there include what? First, it starts from ascending lumbar vein. Next, it empties to the subcostal vein. A branch of inferior vena cava also empty to the subcostal vein. As the other branch goes to empty to the superior vena cava. The subcostal vein empties into hemiazygous vein. Write it down. The subcostal vein empties into the hemiazygous vein, and the hemiazygous vein empty into the ascending hemiazygous vein. The ascending hemiazygous vein empties into the accessory hemiazygous vein. The accessory hemiazygous vein empty into the azygous vein, and the azygous vein empty into the superior vena cava, which empty into the right atrium, which is where we start tracing the blood supply. Okay, then we've achieved a great height. And was it by the time 1 hour exactly, telling you about anatomy. Jake, see film. Okay, so I'd like to go for a break, and I'll be back shortly. 5 minutes break, please. I'll be back shortly. When we take a break, you are free to also take a break. Exactly 10:30, we'll start this again. Do you follow? All right. All right, so we are here again and we are looking at thorax. We have looked at Jake C theme. We've looked at this place is poorly lighted. Let me get to where light will be strong. Okay. Okay, I think you can see me from here now. So we said we've looked at Jake C theme. Okay. Look at what it means, JECCFIM. Now we are looking at very tall rabbit, travel very bright streets to avoid cars. Now, what it stands for is this. All right, so I think this, and we can look at where we stopped from. And we started from this light is raking in here. So we are looking at the we're looking at the relations, and we have finished the relations. Next thing we want to look at is the thoracic wall. The thoracic wall, the walls of the thorax. Now it's made up of two things: extrinsic muscle and intercostal muscle. Extrinsic muscle and intercostal muscle. The extrinsic muscle and the intercostal muscle. The extrinsic muscle, we said, watch this now. Watch this. The extrinsic muscle are 11. 5 and 5 and 1. 11. Okay? How do you recall it? You say, some serious, smart students study properly. That's what we say. Smart students study properly. Okay? So every exam requires serious study daily. Smart students study properly. So every exam requires serious study daily. What does that mean? Smart students study properly stands for what? Serratus superior, serratus anterior, and serratus posterior. That is SAT. Who sat there? It is serratus. Then the properly stands for pectoralis major. Pectoralis major. Then moving away from there, we said we have what? So every exam, they stands for scalene. Scalene muscle. Okay. Every stands for what? Extrinsic. No. Every stands for external oblique. Then exam stands for external intercostal. External intercostal muscle. Then another one, we have the so every exam requires serious study. So that requires stands for rectus abdominis. Rectus abdominis. Serious stands for subclavius. Okay. Study stands for sternocleidomastoid. That thing I mistakenly said in the other one. Okay. Then moving away from there, we now have what? We now have daily. That stands for diaphragm. Good. And it's the diaphragm we begin once we are done with this concept. Okay. So we say, what's diaphragm? We talk about the diaphragm is a chief respiratory muscle. It's a chief respiratory muscle. All right. Now let's move on. We now talk about the intercostal muscle. Remember, the thoracic wall is made up of extrinsic muscle and intercostal muscle. We are done with extrinsic muscle. There are 11. I've listed them. Serratus anterior, serratus posterior, serratus superior, do you get? Pectoralis major, scalene muscle, external oblique, external intercostal, subclavius, sternocleidomastoid, diaphragm. Do you follow? Rectus abdominis, those muscles. Okay. Now, next thing we want to learn is the intercostal muscle. The intercostal muscle has 3. We have internal intercostal, external intercostal, and thoracic layer of that muscle. Okay, so you can say AT, ETE, AT, meaning good. AT is a language, someone's language that means good. Someone's language that means good. You follow? Now we move on to the next one. We have there what else do we have? We've divided the thoracic wall into 2 muscles, external and intercostal. Extrinsic and intercostal. Then the extrinsic, we mentioned the 11 muscles. For the intercostal, we mentioned the 3 layers: internal intercostal, external intercostal, and the transversus thoracic muscle layer. Now the transverse thoracic layer is divided further again to 3. We call it sister, S-I-S, cis. Hi, good morning, cis. That cis now means means subcostalis, intercostalis, and then stenocostalis. All right. Let me show you some of these things we are talking about. Intercostalis, stenocostalis. Are you seeing it now? That's some of the things we are talking about. Okay. Subcostalis, intercostalis, and stenocostalis. See, transversus thoracic muscle layers, intercostal. Then when we are done with that, we move away from thoracic wall to venous drainage. Then we have talked about venous drainage, where we said the ascending lumbar vein drains into the subcostal vein, and the subcostal vein, receives some drainage from a bit of drainage from inferior vena cava, as the bulk of it drains into the superior vena cava, while some of it drains into the subcostal vein. The subcostal vein drains. Can use flow charts. Drains into where? It drains into the hemiazygous vein. The hemiazygous vein drains into accessory hemiazygous vein. And then the accessory hemiazygous vein drains into the azygous vein itself. And then the azygous vein drains into what? 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 It drains into superior vena cava, which drains into what? The right atrium. Now we talk about blood supply, CIDs. That's what the acronym we use, CIDs. Okay? I have not given you acronym for the venous drainage. You can form that. But how I saw it, how we look at that venous drainage something, you will just tracing the course. Like, look at this. Of all this, we said, of all these veins, the veins that are interesting to us is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are just 6 or 5. 5 veins are interested to. Of all these veins, venous drainage here that you see, just about few are interested to us. You see it now, just few. Okay. So now, in the few is the ascending lumbar vein. You can see it, subcostal vein, both left and right. Left and right subcostal vein drains into hemiazygous. You see, hemiazygous drains into what? Accessory hemiazygous, like that. Okay, like that, and we finish. Okay, so let's talk about blood supply, CIDS. CID, you know of CID? Okay. CID stands for costocephalic artery. I stand for internal thoracic artery. D stands for deep cervical artery. S stands for superior. S stands for what? Supreme intercostal artery. Supreme intercostal artery. You need to say that over and over again. To master it, you must stammer it. Okay? Master, you must stammer it. Okay, before you plaster it, then you can master it. Stammer means you must say something and miss some thoughts. This thing I'm saying to you, I have taught it. So join the studio, the work, so that you can teach. Make such course mastery. Join it. It's a free public. You can master it. When you just get engaged like this, if you are just doing nothing and I'm just presenting to you, at the end of the day, you remember just 30 to 50%. It will be reduced and you'll be forgetting. But if you do something, write it, thumbs up, write it, say it, pause video, say over again. If you do those things, it will make sense. We said that if you now teach it in the workshop, you teach, it's a study shop. You have anatomy study shop. You have made such course mastery study shop. You come and display what you have learned in the morning, the afternoon, the night. Especially if you were not the guest, everybody can be a guest, except you gather in your school. Okay? Now moving away from there, we said we have the space. Bright street. Street, there is space. Very tall rabbit travel very bright streets. The street, there is space or intercostal space. So between two rib, you have rib groove. Okay? And between the rib groove, you have intercostals, the intercostal muscle, innermost intercostal muscle. You also have the internal intercostal muscle collateral vessels, vein, artery, and nerves, which we have named under phrenic nerve, brachiocephalic, veins, okay, arteries like the internal thoracic artery and supreme intercostal, things like that. Okay, after that, we talk about today in terms of thoracic cavity. We talk about things that are in that cavity. Lungs, the heart, okay, talk about the diaphragm, okay, and the other great vessels of the heart. So that's where we'll end this session here, and then we will pick up diaphragm. Yeah, because we mentioned diaphragm when we started. We mentioned diaphragm when we started the session. So this diaphragm, you can see diaphragm. So as you talk about diaphragm, okay, you can talk about diaphragm in 12 different ways. Number one, introduction, it says CPS, just like GPS. Watch the technique and the uniqueness in which we study. Are you following it? Okay. And we talk about the diaphragm. The introduction is chief respiratory muscle. Okay, it is also a passageway for structure in and out of the thorax inferiorly, or the superior or the inferior thoracic aperture, or what you call thoracic outlet. And then it's a separation, okay, between the thorax and the the shape is dome shape. The shape of thorax, dome shape. That's a dome shape. Aside from that, we said thorax is concave in its inferior abdominal surface. That's in its inferior abdominal surface. It's concave. Now, convex, okay, on the right, okay, and the left side. It's concave on the right and the left side. That's the diaphragm. So the mnemonic we said CIAS, core, dim. C as core, dim. CIAS dash CORL dash DIM. What's DIM? Depressed in the middle. So the thorax is depressed like this in the middle. Depressed like this in the middle. And then curve like this by the right. Concave, convex like this, convex like this. And then concave like this. Concave like this. Okay. Now moving away from there, we talk about the opening or the origin. Origin. Okay, definition. We want to define, say, the musculofibrous partition, okay, between the thorax and the abdomen. You're looking at the origin. It has three origins. CVS. Hearing CVS in your PIU. Each time they say CVS, you know that CVS origin of diaphragm. C for costal origin, V for vertebral origin, and S for sternal origin. S for sternal origin. Moving away from there, we said the costal origin is from the surface of the lower six, okay, costal cartilage, all right, costal ribs, inner surface of the inner surface of the lower six ribs, okay. And then the vertebra, we said that one has two, okay, two sub origin. We're going to look at in a little bit. Let's look at the sternal origin. The sternal origin, okay, is at the back of the xiphoid process. I don't know if I can see xiphoid process here. Good. Can see a xiphoid process here. At the back of it, okay, the diaphragm insert. That's the sternal part that it inserts in. Okay. Moving away from there, we have the vertebra. Vertebra. What do you find in the vertebra? We have the left cruise and right cruise. If you can see the diagram is there. I'm not saying because I see it there. We've already internalized it. Look at the video for the internalization. This one we're showing you areas that this thing can work. Okay. So I was only about using just this to talk about this. Okay. Just the content to talk about it. We look at introduction, CPS, definition, musculofibrous partition between this and this, abdomen. Shape is a dome shape, convex in the left to right, concave in its interior, and depressed in the middle. Openings, you have three major openings, and 6 or 7 minor openings. The openings are the vena cava opening, the esophageal opening, and the what? The aortic opening. Enter creates a hole and opening. Or minor opening, very important. Wait, did we talk about the ventral? We didn't finish talking about the ventral. Now let's talk about the ventral origin of the muscle called diaphragm. The ventral is divided into 2, left and right. You say the right is the longest and the strongest. It's more muscular. That one is from the body, an intervertebral disc of L1, L2, and L3. Of the bodies, an intervertebral discs of L1 and 2 and L3. Whereas the left one is just on the bodies, an intervertebral disc of L1 and L2 is not long as the other one. Okay, but you also find it originating from the median arcuate ligament. Look at it. Median arcuate, look at it. This thing here. Median arcuate ligament. You also find another medial arcuate ligament. You also find another one from lateral arcuate ligament. And we say these things are pairs. We say pomal and polar. So thoughts P. Pomal and pomal, sole P thought. What does that mean? Pomal means pairs of medial arcuate ligament. Pala means pairs of lateral arcuate ligament. So means side. Okay. Side of L1 and tip of transverse process. Side of L1 and tip of transverse process of both L1 and L2. Do you follow? Okay. So that's about the origin. The insertion is just the central tendon. It is inserted on the central tendon. That's where it is inserted on the central what? Tendon. All right. Let's move away from there. What do we have? You have the next one for diaphragm. What do you have? Relation. Relation. You say PP like father. Say like say for relation we say PP, superior and inferior relation. The superior relation is the pericardium, okay, and the perineum. No, the pericardium, while the inferior you have peritoneum. Okay, the upper one is pericardium. The plural, yes, the plural pericardium. The lower one, that's inferior relation, is the peritoneum. That's the membrane that covers organs on the abdominal viscera. That's different from perineum in TAP. Perineum is the region containing the sternal genitalia and the anal orifice. Okay. Still making progress. The next thing we are talking about is the what? Is the kid like father. Kid like father is in the inferior relations. That kid is for kidney, like is for liver. Father is for fundus of the stomach. Okay, kid like father. SPS, not SPP. The S is for spleen. The other one is for suprarenal gland, while the P is peritoneum. Okay, are you seeing it now? Venous drainage, all the veins, okay, that follow the arteries that supply the diaphragm drains into systemic vein. So what is the arterial supply? You slim SMS. Sorry, U slim soup. U dash slim dash S SUP. You slim soup. Okay. Now the U there stands for upper right lumbar artery. Upper right lumbar artery. Now the two U there, the other U in soup stands for upper left lumbar artery. All right, the slim there is superior epigastric artery. The F stands for superior phrenic artery. So if there's superior phrenic artery, means there's inferior phrenic artery. Okay, the L there stands for lower third posterior intercostal artery, both left and right. Okay, you slim soup. The I there, you already talked about inferior pulmonary artery. The M there is musculophrenic artery. Then the soup, the P there is for pericardiophrenik artery. Those are the arteries. So if you have pericardiophrenik artery, it means there's pericardiophrenik nerve. So all those, phrenic veins, all those veins now drains into the systemic. Of course, there's phrenic nerve. Phrenic nerve. Okay, the nerves that supply it, we said is what? There are two nerves, sensory nerves and motor nerve. The motor nerve is the what? The phrenic nerve C3, C4, C5. Okay, and then the motor nerve divided into two. We have the central motor nerve. We have central sensory nerve and the peripheral sensory nerve. The central is phrenic nerve once again. The periphery, okay, you have them as what? You have the periphery as nerve as what? The lower C6 and C7. Do you follow? Thumbs up if you are following. Good. Next one we talk about, watch this now. The next thing we talk about is the action. We said you use the mnemonic MDPVC. That's the PVC. Voting card, you understand? Permanent voters card of the MD, managing director. The M there stands for micturition, that is to urinate. Without the diaphragm, urination becomes difficult. So it's part of the muscles that aid in urination. We talk about defecation, MDPVC. P is for parturition, to give birth. It's one muscle that assists in parturition. And then we talk about what? V there is for vomiting. To vomit needs diaphragm. And then, sorry about that. Then we talk about the C there is for what? Okay, so we move on. Immediately we are done with action, we talk about anomalies and applied anatomy. That is clinical significance and applied anatomy. Use the word cheaper, CHI. No, chai. No, I like saying chai. Okay. So chai, CHAI. Chai, C for section of pores, all those pneumothorax. Okay. H for hiccough, I for irritation, and A for acquired hiatus hernia. So we have a lot of hernias that can happen in this diaphragm. Okay, there's the one that can occur in the Bogdales triangle. That's where you have Larry space. Okay, diaphragmatic hernia can occur there. Also have the one that can occur in the, if there's the Bogdeles Triangle or life space is the region between the seven uh, coastal cartilage and the xiphoid process. There's a space there. That space, okay, can enlarge, all right, allowing structures to move from abdomen to the thorax that shouldn't have moved. That's herniate from abdomen to thorax. All right, so that's from the word herniate, we have hernia. Okay, moving away from there, we also have we also have congenital hiatus hernia. That is failure of the diaphragm, okay, to develop from any of the sides, okay, that the left side or the right side. Okay, so that's the concept, okay, that is there. And once again, these are the things that your examiner, okay, these are the things in your heart that the examiner, all right, things in your thorax, okay, things inside your thorax is still part of that. We're going to be looking at the lungs and the heart. Okay, we've looked at thorax, okay, in deep essence, okay, and it's not really easy. Taking heavy time on this concept of thorax, and now we are looking at diaphragm. We finished two things now, so let's make it a date. By 3 p.m. we'll be looking at something. Wow, you can't miss this. The 3 p.m. session is going to be miss and his. If you miss it, that's what we mean by his. Say, Kai, it's going to be miss it and regret. So don't miss it for everything, anything. The time is 3 p.m. 3 p.m. today. Let's make it a date. Is that okay now? Thumbs up if we are together. All right. Thank you. God bless you. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Okay, don't forget to join the WhatsApp channel where you practice in your shop, in your study shop or study studio. Don't forget to share the link so that other medical practitioners can see how they can reduce the whole subject to a very small thing. See all this big thing now, reduce it to all those short form and all. So once again, thank you for being a part of them. Drop your comment. It lets us know that it gets us encouraged. Okay, ask question. Okay, nobody is above mistake. What are the structure we mentioned that they didn't tell you is like that? Okay, let's get to learn together. Are we together now? Thumbs up, I will be fine. So we have afternoon session by 3 p.m. We have evening session by 9 p.m. Okay, by 9 p.m. Okay, thank you and good to see you. Bye-bye. Thumbs up if you are with me. Drop it on the comments and do your subscription. Yeah.